So today meditation is over. It's the 36th day. So I'm preparing to do this work as Jiki Jitsu, timekeeping, ringing the bell, clapping and turning light on and off and incense and candles. So time it, get all the procedure done. As I sat and watched how those people in front of me sitting quiet, I thought about this. It was an image of like ducks or maybe swan. Summer to winter, they move thousands of miles from the north to south or south to north. And as a group, I imagine that they're this floating in the air, flying. And I think they have this triangular shape, pointing the guy at the top can navigate which way to go, perhaps checking the location of the sun or the moon, and of course stars, and they know which way to go. And before they all fly, leaving where they spend the summertime, they just prepare, and somehow they'll figure out when the time is right, and the guy or the gal, whoever, as a leader, would assess the situation and take off. I don't know, maybe some may not make it to take off, or some may drop off in the middle of the air on the way. But they're committed to this seasonal movement from south to north, north to south, and get to a location, the beach. I know one location in New Zealand when they arrive at the beach just across the bay that I can see, and then spend the summertime and then go back. So the thought I had is this Zen temple, only 4 people actually, not many, as resident, and sitting together every day from 6 to 7. And Wednesday and Sundays we have more sitting, the Zen meditation. But we're together. So preparing this Jiki Jitsu, the timing and the bells and ringing and light and incense and turning on and off and bowing and all that procedure. I think each temple may have its own, but this temple has its own. And that's what I shared in the other video. There may be 25, 30 point of action. I'm prepared to do that tomorrow. And also there's some chanting toward the end. And sometimes the bell rings 3 times, sometimes twice, sometimes once. And we chant, we say certain phrase, 1, 2, 3, 4, and repeat 3 times. And when you go through the 3 times, you go, what's the name of that? I don't know in English, but the tiny bell, chunk, 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 and there's a certain point when you hit it. And the 3 times, but the it was first time at the end chung, and the third time it goes in the middle of it more often, something like that. And after that, the bell rings and stand up and bow toward the altar. And we do this standing and then all the way down flat on the ground, and the bell rings. And the second time, how was it? Yes, second time is a bit different. You ring the bell when you bow and get flat on the ground, and then before you stand up, you hit one additional one, and go stand up, and then bow, and ring the bell and bow, and do it again. And after that, we bow to the altar and among us, and that's the end of it. I don't remember if you ring the bell at the end. So the timing, and then you go to the altar, blow off the candle, turn off the light, things like that. But you do it in the middle because the incense ran out, so you put the new incense, things like that. So the whole Zendo and the resident go through this routine. And if there's something missing, everybody knows that. So that image of the ducks or swan, whatever, flies, seasonal, south, north to south, I pictured the group has this sense of togetherness, and they change the turn. In the case of the ducks and those birds, they may change the top person every now and then because the top had more wind resistance, so the second and third have a little bit less wind because of the way that is processed. So in the Zen temple, they changed the rule and learned the process. So this is one part of it. There's a more other part, like how to cook and stuff like that. And this temple has its own protocol because of the size and orientation and level of their involvement, how disciplined and serious. Other temple has much more strict rules, and there may be more people, and they commit to go through this. If you imagine, by the way, those old days, I think they took it like a real life and death situation, just like the swan or the ducks for traveling, working together. Maybe they run out of food, so they go out and get donation. They may not get it, and they get hungry. It was a serious business, and there's a tradition to be serious, and I think it's good. For at least some people to experience this, to straighten up instead of getting loose. By the way, let me regress a bit. Yesterday I was out swimming. I met the Chinese guy at the pool. We talked. And what was the discussion? It was very interesting. And we compared notes, the Chinese, Japanese, and I said he said Chinese are so and so. What was the expression he said? Chinese can be very loud, and they talk a lot. Then I thought, Indian people, I thought they talk a lot too. And he said the Chinese has loudness. And the Indian just keep talking. My understanding of the Indian people tell me that how long you can talk, it represents the level of intelligence. I don't mean to degrade or anything, but that's the way someone told me. So Chinese has its own character. And then there's the Korean, it's very strong. The Japanese, he said, is very quiet. I have a Japanese tendency, but always interested in knowing different customs, habit, and how they behave, and how much can be communicated. So I guess tied to that swan and duck story, the protocol is different, habit pattern is different, and the changing of the habit takes some energy to go over beyond what the energy took place to get that habit. So, yes, one of the discussion with the Chinese guy, I think he said he spent, this is another guy, the other guy at the lifeguard told me that he spent every day 1 hour playing the poker game. And he said he had a son or his friend, 13 years old, and they go wild in playing games to the point that this kid had to go some recovery process so that they can fix that addiction. So the habitual pattern changes, and this digitalization brought more different ways to spend your time. And that's interesting. Things are changing. The people's amount of time they spend on the internet or AI, it's different, or playing games, and that certainly affects the pattern. So I guess related to this discussion of the Zazen sitting and their protocol, how they do it, it's almost like opposite of trend that people start to loosen up to do this, because they can afford to and play this game and that game and develop the habit. You might think I developed the habit of using the YouTube and also using AI, but that's to me is not using, but also to be used, but how to use, that's behind my thought, which is related to this discipline of this Zen temple. If we don't have certain discipline, we'll loosen up. So to what degree do we have a certain discipline? That's for individual and organization and the nation and the human species to find out. Things always change. How to navigate. Independent or as a group. If it's as a group, how to relate to each other, where to go, how to go. I talked about the Zen life, temple life, swan and duck, and the world changing, the habit pattern changes. Some get addiction or are a society like homeless. That's what it is. Where do we draw a line for each, which way to go, how to spend our time individually and related to the group? I think there's a sense of a fresh breeze if you spend time meditating, working together to clean up the mind, be able to assess the situation well, to make a good judgment. Let's make the best. How to do it, each person need to find a way, but we can exchange ideas, and learn from the process. My point is the AI is becoming a large portion of how we live our life to make a decision. So, not to be used like a tools. Use the tool, use the brain, use the mind. But we need to have foundation, the base that we can base upon, and I call it the nature's way or the heart that put us on this planet and the source of evolution, whether it's the swan or the ducks or the monks in the Zen temple or people playing the games, working with AI. What's at the root? Let's make a good decision with calm and quiet mind, with the orientation. May all beings be happy. We are here together, hopefully, each of us and as a human hope to have us be the master of destiny. Thank you.